Among the news for you today, Quincy Mayor Thomas Koch is reiterating his opposition to plans by the city of Boston to rebuild the Long Island Bridge. Recently, Boston Mayor Michelle Wu said that Boston is poised to receive the necessary permits to rebuild the bridge and move ahead with a plan to create a drug treatment center on Long Island. But the mayor says Boston still has many hurdles to clear before a bridge can be built.
The main permit right now that has not been granted, it's been sitting for a while, that's before the Coast Guard. And one of the main reasons is that the bridge that's been designed and proposed is much shorter to what the standard of a bridge should be. And the openings for the boating is much more narrow.
I see.
So today's standards are very different when you build a bridge over the waterways. And that's problematic. The boating community, beyond our objections about the traffic, the boating community around Boston Harbor came out in droves with letters and calls to the Coast Guard, letting them know that they felt it was a problem and should not be allowed as it was designed. So that's a major hurdle still for Boston. There's a number of other local permits they'll have to deal with. I just find it perplexing, quite frankly, Joe, that the bridge is estimated to be about $250 million at this point. Why they wouldn't pursue water transportation.
Quincy argues that a new Long Island Bridge would create dangerous traffic through Squantum and North Quincy, particularly if there is future development on Long Island. Quincy has exhausted all of its legal appeals for the bridge project. However, Koch says he will continue to oppose that plan. The Quincy City Council approved 18 department budgets on voice votes with no cuts during the first hearing for next year's proposed city budget earlier this week. But the council did, however, place a hold on proposed pay raises for 8 department heads. Mayoral spokesman Chris Walker says the administration will provide any additional information the council needs at future hearings.
To the specific salary market rate adjustments, those department heads who are here can answer those questions. That means essentially their budget has been covered, with the exception of the salary increases, which, as I discussed earlier, was always going to be handled by Mr. Mason and myself.
That's fine.
So, if the body wishes the department heads to come back, the department heads will come back. That's not an issue. But from an efficiency standpoint, it seems like it makes sense to have the department heads that are here tonight present. And if there are any questions or issues or potential cuts relative to anything outside of the questions that this body has asked relative to the market salary adjustments, that we handle those this evening. We're all here now. It just seems to make sense. And then we just hold everything relative to the market salary adjustments to a later date.
The administration is seeking salary increases for several department heads based on an outside review of wages in Quincy as compared to similar-sized municipalities. The proposed budget for the next fiscal year of $405 million is up $33 million. That's almost 9%. More budget hearings are scheduled for next Tuesday and Wednesday at Quincy City Hall. The proposed Quincy Public Schools budget for the next fiscal year is up by just over $8 million to just over $134 million. During a recent presentation to the school committee, Quincy School Committee Vice Chair Frank Santoro asked about reinstituting a program that helps incoming freshmen better prepare for high school.
The program was called New Start, and the students were identified in middle school as to who might not be able to handle the high school complex very well. And those kids were actually self-contained in a classroom with a special teacher all day long, were able to pass subjects because of the way it was taught to them, were able to give them jobs. It was a very good program. Kids ended up actually graduating from high school and then going on to college from that program. And I'm hoping that in some point, and if it can't be in the budget, Superintendent, that we actively seek some kind of funding, either through a grant or from the state, to be able to institute something like that again. And that's all I wanted to say, Mayor. Thank you very much.
The proposed school budget would provide funding for 25 new positions, including teachers, guidance counselors, and paraprofessionals. Superintendent Kevin Mulvey will present the proposed school budget to the City Council next Tuesday night. Now, some pretty major renovations are underway to Pageant Field and Marymount Parkway here in Quincy. The Commissioner of Natural Resources, Dave Murphy, says at Pageant Field, workers have already installed a new picnic pavilion, softball diamonds, and a walking trail. Soon, 75 new trees will be planted at Pageant as well. The restroom building has received a fieldstone veneer treatment, and some electrical improvements are being made to the Ruth Gordon Amphitheater for some summer events that are planned this year. Future improvements will include some new bocce and horseshoe courts and a sand volleyball court. And 60 new trees and shrubs are being planted along that slope along nearby Marymount Parkway. Now, Murphy says the renovations at Pageant Field should be completed by early June. 23 graduating seniors from Quincy and North Quincy high schools recently received the Massachusetts Seal of Biliteracy. Now, the state program recognizes high school graduates who are proficient in English and at least one other language. The honor recognizes those students' ability to communicate, comprehend, and interact in multiple languages effectively. The seal also reflects their commitment to fostering global understanding and cultural appreciation. 11 students from North Quincy High and 12 from Quincy High were honored during a recent school committee meeting. The Quincy Rotary Club recently awarded 40 graduating seniors from Quincy and North Quincy high schools a total of $40,000 in scholarships. 30 $1,000 scholarships were awarded to 15 seniors from each high school. 6 students received $1,000 nursing scholarships from the Quincy Medical Center Foundation. The Thomas M. Galvin History Award presented 3 $1,000 scholarships to a student from Quincy, North Quincy High, and the Woodward School. And 2 Toolbox scholarships of $500 each were presented through the John D. McKay Scholarship Fund to students who are entering the trades. The scholarships were presented during the Rotary Club's annual luncheon that was held back on May 16th at the Common Market in West Quincy. It's our check of news for you today. Coming up, Irene Lutz is here from Quinn Cycles with an update. That's next. Welcome back. We have got absolutely picture-perfect bike riding weather here in southern New England for the next week at least. So if you've never tried it, now is the time. And if you're an avid bike rider, I know you're going to enjoy it. So Irene Lutz from Quinn Cycles has stopped on by to tell us a little bit about that group and how you might be able to get involved with them. Nice to see you, Irene.
Thanks for having me here, Joe.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. I really do enjoy our chats because we're talking about fun stuff, right? I mean,
Yes.
Everybody remembers as a kid having a bike and having a great time.
Yeah, I teach classes and we ask people about their first bikes,
Yeah.
bike memories, and the word that comes up most often is that bikes make you feel free,
Yeah.
the freedom of bike riding.
Yeah, and there's an instant camaraderie, right, when you get together with a group of folks who enjoy bike riding. So it's a built-in social aspect of it as well.
Yes, absolutely, and Quinn Cycles is as much an advocacy group as well as a social riding group, so
Yeah.
we like to bring people together to bike here.
It's 11 years old now, you mentioned earlier?
Yes,
Wow.
11 years ago we started. We met at Good Shepherd Lutheran Church
Yeah.
and started talking about how we could make Quincy better for biking.
Yeah.
And part of that mission has always been working with the city government and the city departments through the Bike Commission that was established not long after, and then also by just getting people out riding and experiencing what it feels like to be on a bike in Quincy. And people tell me if they've never biked, it looks like it's going to be really scary, but actually there are lots of ways to get around the city that aren't the way you might drive. So we like to show people those more comfortable routes.
Yeah, and if anybody would know, it would be you, because you have bike
I biked every street in Quincy in pandemic
street
year.
in the city of Quincy during the pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know better than anyone how to get around on a bike.
Yeah, it was a way to get out when we were, didn't have anywhere that we could go. So.
Right. But as we were kind of reflecting earlier this morning, the infrastructure for bicycles in Quincy has changed dramatically in that 11 years, right?
Yeah, we've had a lot of bike lanes put in. There are new lanes going in right now. Willard Street is getting repaved, so that we're going to have new bike lanes on that section in Quincy, and also Marymount Parkway is getting a new bike lanes as part of its reconstruction. So each season, we get a little bit more added to our network. And I know it can be like sometimes people look at it and say, "Oh, I don't see bicyclists using that," and I try to encourage people to think of it in terms of a whole network, that you're not always going to see people all the time, but the more we build a connected network, the more comfortable people will feel choosing to bike for those who are nervous about biking in Quincy.
If someone knows for sure that there is a safe route for them to use their bike to get from point A to point B, they're more apt to try it, right?
Exactly. And it's all about having choices for your transportation. You can own a car but not always use it. You can decide to walk, you can decide to bike, you can decide to take transit. And when you have those options, it's just then you're not pushed into a car as the default all the time. And that's my goal, is to diversify our transportation network so that we all have more choices about how we get around.
I was just going to ask you, Irene, so we talked about this too, what is your dream for Quincy?
So recently, May is Bike Month,
Yes.
and so we had our annual Ride the Spine event, and the Spine is Hancock and Washington streets. We like to call it the backbone of Quincy's transportation network. We have the 3 train stations. It just connects all of our downtowns. It's designated as the Spine route in our bike network plan from 2015, and so we are working to build that out. But we do this ride escorted by police officers from the community service unit.
Yes.
So they like to come out and they join us. And I always tell them, you guys make this feel like a protected bikeway. So maybe you've seen them in Boston. It's either a bollard protected, like on Quarry Street seasonally, or a curb protected, or a curb sidewalk level bike lane where you are separated from the traffic and from pedestrians, and bicyclists have their own space. And when you're in that type of environment, it is comfortable and joyful. The stress of biking with traffic disappears. So. My goal, my dream, and it is a long way out there. I'm learning to be patient. Is to have a protected bikeway facility on that Spine route, so that whether it's on one side or both sides, however it can eventually someday, maybe hopefully be done, to give people that joy and comfort of being able to get through our city from bridge to bridge without having to worry about the stress, to feel the joy of bicycling more.
So from Fall River to Neponsit?
Yeah, that's what our route does. It's a 10-mile loop. We usually start somewhere in the middle. Like this year, we started at Marymount Parkway. And we ride up and go under the Neponsit Bridge, and then all the way down to the Fall River Bridge, and loop under that and come back. It's 10 miles. It's not very long. It takes us about an hour. We go at a very slow, comfortable pace for all the people who are joining us who aren't really necessarily, this might be their first ride of the season or their only ride of the season. So we enjoy it. It's a lot of fun every year.
Do you have any new members this year?
We have 67 members, and those are the paid members, but you don't have to be a paid member to join any of our events. We welcome everybody who wants to try it. Our rides are always no drop. We don't leave anybody behind. And we are, every Monday night, we usually get a new rider joining us. We have a Monday night series that switches between a relaxed kind of flat route and a more challenging hilly route. So I think you have a picture we might show later of the group that just recently climbed Chickatobit last week.
Oh,
so
all right.
That's
the Hardy group.
That is the Hardy group, but we've had every year we have people who join us and they're like, oh, I don't know if I can do Chickatobit, I might wait for you, and we're like, no, you can do it. We help them and we get them up there. It's and that's the social aspect of it. You can encourage people to do things. Our Spine ride is about showing people how bikeable Quincy is, not just recreationally, those exercise rides that we do on Monday nights, but also just for errands, just to get yourself to the T, just for transportation.
You mentioned pictures, so here's a good time to bring them in.
Oh, sure.
We'll show folks, and I'll let you narrate.
I'll do my best.
Photo.
So this is the Ride the Spine group. This year we had just over 30 people join us, and we've had more than that in the past, but I know, last Saturday's weather was a little sketchy in the forecast, so these hardy souls came out and joined us for a morning ride.
And we see the police officers there as well.
And this is us leaving. So we had taken a break there at the Hancock Adams Common, just just to give some of our riders time to catch up and have a drink of water. And then we headed south on Hancock toward Washington. We're heading toward the Fore River Bridge right here.
So here, I mean, here you're right in the middle of the road. You're not in the bike lane. So this is a purposeful ride, right?
This is a purposeful
Yeah.
ride. The police officers encourage us to take the lane. We are a larger group
Right.
at this time. Normally, our rides we are a little stricter.
Right, yeah.
Obviously, we have to be without the police escort. We want to follow all the traffic laws. Now, occupying the lane is legal if it's necessary
It's
for
an
you.
event,
Yeah,
right?
you're
Yeah.
not required to stay in the bike lane as a bicyclist. Oftentimes, it's blocked and you can't stay in the
Right.
bike lane. So.
Well, delivery trucks are in it or something. Yeah.
Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, but we obey all traffic laws on our rides. This one we
Yeah.
have a little bit more freedom and flexibility as an event.
Right. No, exactly. Sure. Here's the group.
This is the Monday night ride. Just last week,
Yep.
we had about 20 people show up, plus our photographer, who's not in the picture. He always steps out to take the picture. But so yeah, it's a mixed level, mixed experience.
Yeah.
Really diverse group. I love that Quinn Cycles draws a lot of women identifying people to join us. So we are. I think that's one of the indicators of comfort in a bike network, in a bicycling community, is when you have women coming out and riding.
Interesting.
So,
Okay.
So we have a really great group that comes out with us, and this is at the Chickatawbut Overlook.
I was just going to say, that looks like the top of the hill. Okay.
You can see how excited and happy everyone looks that they are no longer pedaling up that hill.
Exhausted is what they are.
But yeah, no, it's really fun. We like to cheer everybody as they get up there.
Right. Yeah. It's where you learn your gears, I'm sure, is climbing that hill, right?
Yeah. In Bike Month, there's National Bike to Work Day, and
Yep.
this image is from when we arrived at Boston City Hall Plaza
all right.
for the festival that they hold every year. So we left City Hall here in Quincy at about a little bit before 7 a.m. and we biked up over the Neponset and up through South Boston, and to show people and help lead a convoy. We had about 24 people join us to see what it's like to bike into Boston.
Yeah.
Passed a lot of other people who just regularly bike into Boston.
Yep.
And we had folks from Abington who
No kidding.
regularly commute in.
From Abington
From
to Boston?
Abington to Boston.
Really?
Yeah, that
Wow.
was really great. We had 2 folks who joined our convoy for that.
Okay.
So the distance isn't the thing. It's the infrastructure, right? You
Yeah.
just need to build the space. And
How long did it take from Quincy to Boston City Hall?
so we got to Boston a little before 8, so just about an hour.
About an hour, okay.
But that was not at a.
You're not pedaling
We weren't going
furiously,
fast, and we
right?
stopped to
Right.
take a picture in South Boston near Broadway.
Gotcha.
And we went.
Here's that picture, right?
Yeah, we went through along Fort Point Channel. It was really lovely. It's more of a, you don't do this one to get to work really quickly. You do it to enjoy the ride.
Well,
and-
I mean, talking about an hour, you can spend more time than that just sitting on the expressway in your car.
Yeah, that's
in
true.
traffic.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm just saying, like, this event is a more relaxed way to get relaxed commute.
Right.
But other people commute regularly, 45 minutes. Depends on how fast you go, whether you have an e-bike or not,
Yeah.
things like that.
And the
So-
time of day would matter too, I would think, right? The earlier you'd be able to do it a little quicker.
Well, that's one of the things. You're not competing with the cars
Oh,
for
all right, so-
the road space, so you're able to go.
At your own
Have a
pace
little
at
more
any
control
time.
over your time when you're bike commuting,
Yeah, that's a
especially
good
these
point.
days.
Yeah, there's not going to be a bike backup, right?
Right.
there
There's
is on
no
the-
bike traffic congestion.
Car
yeah.
backup, yeah.
Yeah.
There is some new infrastructure coming this year, right? In the
Yes,
North
so
Quincy area, yeah.
heading into Boston,
Yeah.
the Neponset Greenway is being extended
Yeah.
from Tenay Beach, which is kind of where it ends right now on the eastern end, but it's being extended between the new developments there along Morrissey and the highway. So it's going to go in between there, cross over Victory Road, and then it'll be a boardwalk that goes out by the gas tank and then brings you out onto the sidewalk on Morrissey Boulevard.
Neat.
Closer to, not all the way at the Harbor Walk at UMass Boston, but closer to it. It's going to
Okay.
be really exciting.
All
So
right.
construction has already started. If you're over in that area, you can see them clearing the way.
Is it the state doing this?
And DOT and
Okay.
DCR, I think, are collaborating.
Teaming up on that,
Yeah,
okay.
It is DCR primarily, though.
Okay. So, I mean, really, that's going to create a more direct route. You can go right to Castle Island if you
Absolutely,
choose, right?
yes, yeah. And we do a ride to Castle Island usually every year as well. But for now, we ride on Morrissey, and we have to watch out for that exit ramp. So we station ride marshals at that point to keep everyone connected and safe and and visible.
Yeah.
So this will be a much more comfortable, again, like we were talking about, that protected, separated bikeway experience is just so much more wonderful.
Speaking of infrastructure, there's some new stuff coming to the Quincy libraries, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So the commission and TPAL have been talking about installing bicycle repair stands. So
This was just news to me today,
I
Irene.
know,
Yeah.
I know. It's exciting. So
Yeah.
if you bike commute, you may have seen these in Boston, Cambridge, maybe down on the in Hull. They have them there as well. But it's a stand that you can lift your bike up off the ground and put it on. And usually we will have tools attached to it by cables, and there will be a pump. So if you get a flat tire or have something that you need to adjust, there will be, sort of universal tools available for you, and a pump so you can reinflate after you fix your flat,
Wow.
or if you're just getting low and you want, if you have a slow leak.
Yeah.
That happens sometimes too. So.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so they're going to be installed at each of the libraries. So we are excited to have that come. We're working. This year we did a community bike repair event, so where we had people sign up and bring their bikes, and we had volunteer members show them how to fix their certain issues within our capabilities, right?
Yeah.
To show them how to fix their own bikes and do some basic maintenance, and keep their bike rideable for the season. That was
Yes.
a really big success. So we're in the process of planning more of those events.
Okay, that's
as
great.
well, yeah.
I was going to ask you about upcoming events for Quinn Cycles.
Yes, so tomorrow's the last Saturday of the month,
Yep.
and I, as a League of American Bicyclists certified instructor, I am teaching a small class on the last Saturdays before a community ride. So tomorrow I will be teaching about brakes. So before every ride, we encourage you to do what's called an ABC quick check.
Yes.
Check your air, check your brakes, check your chain.
I love that. Yeah.
And when you do that regularly before each ride, you develop a sense of how your bike is functioning and whether something's starting to go wrong. So I'm going to be talking about what do you look for when you check your brakes, how you can adjust them if they need a fine-tuning adjustment, how to check and see if they need replacement, braking technique. So if you want to come by, we're going to be starting off at the parking lot at Wollaston School at 9 a.m. tomorrow, and then we'll do a ride. We'll go out to Wollaston Beach, come back through North Quincy, and then all the way out to East Milton, and then back to have coffee at Coffee Break Cafe.
Oh, okay.
So we try to visit a local business as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you need your own bicycle to be a member of Quinn Cycles?
Yes, we do not provide bicycles. You need a bike and you need a helmet. We do ask that people wear helmets, even though the law only says 16 and under. We encourage everybody to be responsible riders and protect their one and only perfect brains.
Okay, all right. And I know
Yeah.
that there are sessions like this for different topics throughout the year, right?
Yes, yeah. So we'll be talking about gearing another last
Yeah.
Saturday and how to use your gears efficiently. We'll be talking about how to position yourself at intersections to safely navigate them, talking about chain maintenance, drivetrain maintenance. So check our website. We are updating it regularly with
Okay.
rides. We're not posting our schedule as far out in advance as we have in past years. We're sort of adding as we go this year.
All right.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
How does one become a member of Quinn Cycles, Irene?
on our website, there's
Yeah.
a link. You can join us through PayPal, or there's information about sending us a check. It's a $25 annual membership for an individual, really nominal, but
Right, yeah.
we use that to support our website, our information, getting the information out there, supplies for classes and events like our maintenance events
Sure.
and things like that.
You mentioned there's the Bicycle Commission. Do they have regular meetings?
They
as well?
do. The Bicycle Commission meets regularly on the third Thursday of every month, and that is via Zoom right now, 6:30 p.m.
Okay.
on Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah, we took a poll. Most of the members wanted to either have it on Zoom or hybrid, so we're thinking about occasionally having an in-person meeting, but right now it's still on Zoom.
Okay, very good.
It's just too convenient.
It's never going to go away,
I know.
It came to us begrudgingly because of the pandemic, but
Right.
we did learn some of the benefits of it for sure.
It's true, yeah.
And folks don't have to be in Quincy, right, to be a member of Quinn Cycles.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, we welcome people from all over the area, Milton, Weymouth, Braintree, wherever you're riding from. We like to have you come join us.
Yeah.
So,
I wish you a very happy and safe bike season once again this year.
thank you so much, Joe.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming by.
Anytime.
And enjoy the gorgeous weather we're going to have too. I'm sure
I know,
you will.
my ride over this morning was lovely.
Yes, I'm sure. Speaking of, let's take a look at the forecast for you for the rest of the day today and really for the next week. Just sunshine, warm, sunny days, and cool, comfortable nights. Today, right around 70 degrees, upper 40s this evening. A big warm up over the weekend, just in time for the unofficial start of summer. Near 80 tomorrow, into the 80s on Sunday, cooling down right on Memorial Day, but still abundant sunshine with highs Monday only in the mid 60s, and it looks like we may hit maybe 90 degrees by sometime late next week. Thanks again going out to Irene Lutz for joining us today from Quinn Cycles. Thanks to our crew. Thank you for watching. We're off on Monday, by the way, for Memorial Day. Next Friday, please join us. Members of the group Quincy Pride will be here to talk with us about their festival this year. Meantime, it's to our website, please. It's qatv.org. You'll find all our latest programs. There's news and information, video on demand, live streaming, and a whole lot more. For all of us here at QATV, I'm Joe Catalano. Have a great week.